Hello, lovers of Westeros. Today's video will be covering a character who's noticeably absent from the Season 8 trailer and teasers, Melisandre the Red Woman. More specifically, we're going to discuss her death. Normally, I wouldn't be so finite about it. 9 times out of 10, talking like that will bite you in the butt. However, Melisandre herself told us that she was going to die, so I feel comfortable discussing it in finite terms. In Season 7, Episode 3, as Varys probes Melisandre about her hiding from Jon Snow at Dragonstone, Varys tells her that she shouldn't return to Westeros because it wouldn't be safe for her. Melisandre responds, "I will return, dear Spider, one last time. I have to die in this strange country, just like you." We can see from this statement that Melisandre knows she's going to die. So naturally, it led me to contemplate just how that could happen, and I have a few ideas. One of them is tied to her contribution to Season 8, which the show is doing its best to keep secret, hence her absence from all of the trailers and teasers. So, what do we know about Melisandre heading into Season 8? Well, we know that she's headed to Volantis and that she'll return to Westeros. What's she up to in Volantis? I suspect she's going to the Red Temple to get the fiery hand along with a red priest or two to bring back to Westeros to assist the prince that was promised Jon Snow in the Great War. The Fiery Hand is a company of slave soldiers employed as guards for the Red Temple of R'hllor in Volantis. The Fiery Hand is made up of 1,000 soldiers, never more, never less. They wear ornate armor over their orange robes, my favorite color, and wield spears with points shaped like writhing flames. They also have flames tattooed across their cheeks. I don't know about you all, but the Fiery Hand would make for a stunning visual in the show if adapted properly, and I'd really like to see that. Seeing as how worshippers of the Lord of Light think their job in life is to fight agents of the Great Other, it makes sense that the Red Temple would dispatch its soldiers and priests to fight the army of the dead, now that the second long night is upon them. It also makes sense because Azor Ahai, or the prince that was promised, is a central figure in that religion. He's the Azor Ahai, he or she, whoever you believe that is. I believe it to be Jon Snow. Azor Ahai is the only person who can end the eternal battle between R'hllor and the Great Other. So I think it would make all the sense in the world for the High Priest, in this case it would be Benero, for him to send his soldiers and priests, if not he himself go, to assist Azor Ahai and do everything he can to help in the battle. With that in mind, I think we could see Melisandre return with the Fiery Hand and go to Winterfell to fight the White Walkers. The real cool thing about this is that Jon wouldn't be expecting it because he banished her from the north and threatened to kill her should she return. Perhaps the show feeds off that and has her show up at the last minute to save the day, and we get this visual of Jon Snow bewildered looking up at her. How would this apply to her death? Well, we know Melisandre won't pick up a sword and engage in hand-to-hand combat, but she is a skilled sorceress and red priestess, so we could see her utilize those skills in battle. Many red priests and priestesses have the ability to manipulate fire. In fact, Melisandre claims to be one such. In Season 3, Episode 1, when Davos returns to Dragonstone, Mel blames him for the deaths of those who fought for Stannis on the Blackwater, insisting that had she been there, she could have saved them. In fact, her exact words were, "I wasn't there when the wildfire burned our men by the thousands. I could have saved those men. You would have taken the city, Stannis would now sit upon his rightful throne, and you would stand beside him. But I wasn't there, because you convinced him to leave me behind." As you can see, Melisandre is confident in her ability to control fire, so maybe we'll finally get to see her do that in the battle at Winterfell. And if she happened to die in the process, maybe by having to sacrifice herself as part of a spell, that would be great for her because, as she told Davos while mocking his son's death, death by fire is the purest death. So sacrificing herself in the flames would be a very fitting end for the Red Woman, especially since she thinks her gods reward such sacrifice. Her god, not gods, God. It's entirely possible, however, that Melisandre and the Fiery Hand don't join the fight at Winterfell, but join in elsewhere. I say this because in an expanded Season 8 trailer, we get a shot of Dany and Jon talking in front of a fireplace. This is the same fireplace that Dany and Tyrion sat by in Season 7, at Dragonstone. If Jon and Dany are at Dragonstone in Season 8, that means that they survived the battle at Winterfell, but the battle itself was lost, so they fled to Dragonstone. Or it means that the Night King was defeated at Winterfell, Jon and Dany survived the battle, and have returned south to deal with Cersei. Either way, there's potential for a Southern battle, so it's possible Melisandre shows up there. I personally like the idea of her joining the battle at King's Landing if one takes place there, because of its ties to her previous story and subsequent claims. She was withheld from the Battle of Blackwater Bay and claimed that had she been there, her presence would have made the difference because she could have saved everyone. Now would be her chance to prove that. And not for nothing, but back in Season 3, when she chastised Davos and mocked his son's death, Mel seems certain that her presence on the Blackwater would have seated Stannis on his rightful throne with Davos at his side. These could have just been arrogant assumptions, but Mel could have also seen something in the flames that made her believe that. Given how in the books Mel prays for glimpses of Azor Ahai, the one true king, dangers that await him, and mistakes everything she sees as applying to Stannis when in reality it applies to Jon Snow, I wonder if the vision she saw, if she had one, was of Jon sitting his rightful throne with Davos beside him, and she would have made the difference in Jon's battle, not Stannis's, but her bias prevented her from objectively interpreting what she saw. It would be pretty cool if that's what her vision truly was, and Mel does join the battle at King's Landing to help Jon. And just to add a tinfoil idea to this, because what the hell. Mel and the Fiery Hand join the battle at Winterfell. The army of the dead is defeated. What, if any, remains of the Fiery Hand return to Volantis. Jon, Dany, and their army move south to deal with Cersei. In that battle, Cersei attempts to blow them up with wildfire. Just in the nick of time, Melisandre shows up and manipulates the wildfire to save everyone and sacrifices herself in a fiery explosion, getting that pure death she boasted to Davos about. I want to reiterate that I don't think it'll go down like that. I was just indulging my tinfoil while we were talking about it. Besides the fiery explosion, there is another way I could see Melisandre going out. Brienne of Tarth. Truth be told, I have really liked this theory in the show that Brienne would kill Melisandre. Let me tell you why. In Season 6, Episode 4, Davos confronts Melisandre in Castle Black's courtyard. He asks her what happened to Shireen, and before Melisandre can answer, Brienne cuts in and says she saw what happened, how Stannis' forces had been defeated. Davos cuts her off, introduces himself, presumably before making his own point. Then Brienne interjects again, saying, "We've met before. I was Kingsguard to Renly Baratheon, before Renly was assassinated with blood magic. A picture is worth 1,000 words. As soon as Brienne said that, Melisandre looked as though she shit herself. Brienne shot Mel dagger eyes sharper than Areohota's long axe, but it didn't stop there. Davos tells Brienne that Renly's murder was in the past, and Brienne, while continuing to glare at Melisandre, answers, "The past. That doesn't mean I forget or forgive." Brienne then discloses to the two of them that Stannis admitted to killing Renly with blood magic before she executed him. She gives Mel one final death stare as if to say, "Who want next?" And Mel looks as though her bowels turned to water and then she defecated in her pants. Brienne then calmly walks away, ever the lady, and the scene ends. Now, the reason why I liked this scene and feel that it supports Brienne killing Melisandre is Melisandre's demeanor. I have never seen her look so afraid of anyone, especially when they've threatened to or attempted to kill her. In Season 2, Episode 1, when Maester Crescent attempted to kill her with a glass of poisoned wine, which he himself took a sip from, Melisandre calmly drinks it, and as he drops to the floor, dying, she tells him that the night was dark and full of terrors. In Season 3, Episode 1, she chastises Davos, indirectly blames him for the death of his son, touches his face, and I don't know about you guys, but when somebody either puts a finger in my face or were to touch my face, especially during an argument, that's the quickest way to provoke me into hitting you. And so that was an awfully bold gesture for her to have done that. But she touches his face and then cruelly mocks him by rubbing it in that his son burned alive. Davos attempts to stab her, and she smugly tells him that he's chosen the darkness and that she'd pray for him. In Season 3, Episode 6, Melisandre buys Gendry from the Brotherhood without banners, which enrages Arya, who angrily confronts, and by angrily I mean grabs, shoves, and screams at Melisandre. Again, Mel brazenly touches Arya's face, talks about the darkness she sees in Arya, says they'll meet again, and then leaves. When Brienne confronted and threatened her, Melisandre made no attempt to touch Brienne, had no bold attitude or snarky remark. All Melisandre had was silence and fear. The drastic change in reaction is significant to me, because we know from the books, danger to her own person was the first thing Melisandre learned to see in the flames when she first started reading them, and was still the first thing she looked for whenever she gazed at a fire. So, there had to have been something she saw about Brienne that was different from the others. Perhaps she saw that Brienne would be the one to kill her, or saw something that indicated she, meaning Mel, would die, but didn't have a clear interpretation until Brienne spoke to her and it clicked. Seeing the threats before they happened has always helped Melisandre be prepared for them, having guards close by to apprehend Davos, doing whatever it was that she did that enabled her to drink the poison. Maybe whatever she saw about the threat Brienne posed was something she couldn't stop. Again, I'm inclined to think she saw her death when scanning the flames for threats, and something in that vision connected to Brienne. Melisandre's comment to Varys proves she knows something about her own death. Could that something be tied to Brienne? Quite possibly. Something else I came across could bolster this theory. In a recent interview to promote Season 8, Gwendolyn Christie, who portrays Brienne, made an interesting comment. She was asked about her reaction to the series finale episode, and it was noted that Gwendolyn had made previous remarks that fans would need therapy after seeing it. Gwendolyn laughed and answered in part, "I put it down," referring to the script, "I put it down with a very heavy heart, digesting everything that occurs. And some things are put to rights, and some things truly are not." That statement could mean many things, and I won't overanalyze it, but I have to wonder if one of the things that gets put to rights is Renly's death. Sure, the audience may have moved on and felt it was put right when Brienne executed Stannis, but the character of Brienne hasn't moved on. As she told Davos, just because Renly's death happened in the past doesn't mean she forgets or forgives. That death stare she shot Melisandre's way proves Brienne holds Melisandre equally, if not mostly, responsible for Renly's assassination. So the matter has not been put right in Brienne's mind. And something else to consider here, it's more emphasized in the book. The show kind of touches on it, but it's more so, again, emphasized in the book. Brienne has always told the truth to anyone that will listen about what happened to Renly. She tells them that he was assassinated by his shadow with the face of Stannis Baratheon. And every time she tells that story, people laugh at her and they mock her. And I would have to think that that really, really hurts Brienne because she loved Renly. Renly meant a lot to her. And so I think killing Melisandre would truly close that chapter of her life. And I think that even if nobody else witnessed Brienne kill Melisandre, I think if she were able to confront Mel like she did Stannis and get Melisandre to privately admit what she had done and then executed her, I think it would be put right for Brienne, and again, she could close the door on that chapter of her life. When would Brienne kill Melisandre? I would say after the battle with the Night King and the undead is over. Remember, Brienne has sworn to protect Sansa. Doing so isn't just saving her from Bolton soldiers or escorting her to her only living family member who could provide her even greater protection. Honoring the vow to protect Sansa could mean facilitating the safety of those who can also protect Sansa, specifically those who can protect her in ways Brienne can't. And like it or not, Melisandre's powers and abilities make her one of the most useful figures in the War for the Dawn. So if Brienne were to indulge her impulses and kill Melisandre before the war with the Night King, she would be hurting Sansa. Brienne's honor won't allow her to do that. So, if Brienne is indeed the one who kills Melisandre, it won't happen until the threat from the Night King is over. Those are just my thoughts, though. I'm more interested in knowing yours. How do you think the Red Woman will meet her demise? At Brienne's hand, a self-sacrifice in a spell, something else? Let us know down below. If you feel so inclined, like and subscribe for more content. I'm Ashley of Noth. Thank you for watching.